So one of the most badass comic book characters and franchises of all time is about to get ruined by some retard who only knows how to make Marvel humor slop.
I feel pretty good about taking things that are beloved by people and then turning them into my own thing. I'm not here to make things for fans of original things.
Judgment time.
This just shows you that nothing is safe. You don't have to be Marvel or DC to have some spastic come in and ruin your franchise. But before we get into it, if you agree with the things I say and you like these videos, maybe consider subscribing, becoming a Patreon, or supporting me over on Twitter. So Judge Dredd is a character that I did a full video on. It probably isn't the best, but I'd say you could go watch that if you want to get into the character. And I'll just say what I said in that video again, that Judge Dredd is one of the most underrated comic book characters ever. He's been around since the 70s, and up until the 2000s, his comics have been some of the best ever made. I'll take Judge Dredd any day over Superman or Fantastic Four, comics and movies. He's like if Dirty Harry was 10 times more badass and extreme. And there's been many debates over the years talking about whether or not Judge Dredd is a villain. And it's a pretty nuanced idea that I got into in my other video. But for now, all you need to know is that Judge Dredd is a cyberpunk cop whose RoboCop meets Dirty Harry and has some of the best sci-fi and action ever put to a comic page. And the character is a 2 movies. One with Sylvester Stallone that gets hated on for no reason, and one with Karl Urban that did not nail the world and the tone of Judge Dredd, but Karl Urban was perfect. And although as a big Judge Dredd fan, I don't really love the world of that movie, it's undeniable that it is a cult classic. And Karl Urban is probably the only badass guy in the last 20 years to play a character like this.
Mama is not the law. I am the law.
Screw all your new movie stars. We need a tough guy like Karl Urban to come in and give us a Dredd sequel. One that is actually accurate to the world and the character and the politics. And Judge Dredd has so many political stories and epic sagas that could be told in movies and TV shows, and barely anybody out there even knows about him because they're too busy caught up in David Cornsweat's Spastic Man. And it's funny that I mentioned spastics because that brings me on to the horrible news about Dredd. So a new Dredd movie is in the works with Taika Waititi set to direct. Now from the guy's name, you can already tell what type of person he is. I'm not going to cut this guy any slack. He's never made a good entertaining movie. Even before Marvel, he had Marvel humor, and everything that the guy touches turns to utterly cringe shit. I don't care what anybody says, his Thor movies are some of the worst Marvel movies ever made. I don't know how I managed to sit through the entirety of Thor Love and Thunder, but holy crap, what an abomination. And who chose him to direct Dredd? The dude was just about to direct an Akira live action remake, and I'm not even the most massive fan of Akira, but I know that it should not be ruined by somebody like this guy. And it's funny because Akira is another cyberpunk manga / comic that is beloved by fans, and it has a deep sci-fi world with guys riding bikes and badass gangs. It's very similar to the world of Dredd, and I don't know what people are smoking and who's putting this guy in this position, but this guy does not fit that one bit. If you've read Dredd comics, you know that this guy cannot make a good movie. And if you watch the Karl Urban Dredd movie, then you definitely know that this guy can't direct a badass at all. And like with every single up and coming new movie about a comic book character, you have fake comic fans coming in saying that, well, Dredd is comedic and it does have a comedic tone, so this director is going to be amazing. As I've said multiple times, Dredd is a stone-faced badass like Clint Eastwood. He's not a gay retard like Chris Hemsworth in any Thor movie.
Just look into the eyes of the people that you love. They'll tell you exactly who you are.
Fuck off.
Nobody else can play Dredd right now except Karl Urban. Who the hell are you gonna get? Tom Holland? And I can't even think of one comic book director nowadays that could make a good Dredd movie. It needs to be unbelievably dark, gritty, violent, R-rated. It needs to have political satire that doesn't just equate to Trump is bad. And it has to have Judge Dredd, a badass male character, and other female judges that are also badass. But I don't think that that's something that Hollywood can even achieve nowadays. And the worst part is that this has been in the works for a really long time. After Dredd came out, there was a TV show in production called Mega City 1, which is the city in Judge Dredd, which is kind of odd because the character of Dredd is still going to this day, and not once does it stray away from him. And this show was going to not focus on the white male badass Dredd, and instead focus on a big load of rookie people of color female cops. And that was years ago, so if you thought that that was bad, picture what it has evolved into. People have already been making jokes saying that Pedro Pascal is going to be Dredd, and that's probably probably not even that far off of what we're gonna get. Dredd is gonna be Pedro Pascal walking around with a gay mustache with soy energy. How do you go from Sylvester Stallone and Karl Urban to whoever the hell we're gonna get here? Dredd was one of those characters that I thought was safe, that we weren't gonna get some brand new blockbuster that ruins the character, but I thought wrong. I don't know how to put it into words for somebody who knows nothing about Judge Dredd. It is impossible to have a comedic director come in and inject retarded Marvel humor. I don't even give a crap about Superman or Fantastic Four. Something like this will really piss me off. But it's kind of the norm nowadays to have characters and franchises just be destroyed and people just pass it off as comic accuracy when it is clearly not. Like, every single person on planet Earth knows that Superman doesn't cry his eyes out. Everybody knows that Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, is not Mexican with a mustache. Everybody knows that Batman isn't some weak Nirvana listening gay like Robert Pattinson. And the same goes for every other comic book property being ruined nowadays. But there is some hope in the fact that the Karl Urban Dredd movie has a massive cult following, and if Taika Waititi thinks he can come in and make it all retarded, then he's gonna have an army of people boycotting it. And fingers crossed, just like the way his Akira movie just got cancelled, maybe the same will happen with this, and hopefully we won't have to watch one of the worst abominations to ever be made. And to end this off, if you watched Karl Urban's Dredd movie and you really liked it and you thought that it was badass, then do consider checking out the comics. There's years and years of this character acting the way he did in that movie and more. If you thought that Karl Urban was badass, then Dredd in the comics can win a war solely by himself. Dredd will go from being Dirty Harry on the streets of a cyberpunk city to leading a one-man army in a war against communists. It doesn't get more kick-ass than that, and if you don't like it, then go screw yourself. Take your Taika Waititi movie and shove it up your ass. This movie is gonna get destroyed. It's gonna get ratioed because nobody wants to see a cool character get turned into some weak gay. And just as a side note, there are gonna be people saying that it's perfectly normal, like the horde of hilarious furries and freaks and black people that just flock to this channel and love screaming and leaving comments crying. It literally doesn't matter what you say. The fans don't like woke crap. You can say it 20 different ways. It's not just wokeness, it's liberalism, it's Marxism, it's never-ending preaching in stories that do not need it. It's shady people who run these companies like Disney and Marvel and DC. The people who are really pulling the strings to break down every single hero people once loved. It's pretty simple. It's not a conspiracy theory, and it's not really that weird of a thought. The majority of retards out there and the people who run these companies do not want badass masculine role model heroes. And that's exactly what Judge Dredd is and always will be. No matter how many cringe movies and TV shows you make, it'll never take away from the character of Judge Dredd. The character who broke every single boundary in the indie comics company of 2000 AD. The guy that would kick Batman's ass. Nobody's gonna watch this movie and it's gonna be a flop, just like every new comic book movie like Superman and Fantastic Four. So if you agree with anything I said in this video and you are a real comic book fan, do let me know and maybe consider subscribing. And if you're one of those woke retarded people out there, never forget that Judge Dredd is the law and he's not some weak homo. Now go complain to your boyfriend.